Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for a new episode of A New Go of New Home Sales podcast. I'm your host, Anya Chrysanthemum, and joining me today is a returning guest, Leah Turner. Leah is a national sales coach and trainer with Melinda Brody and Company. For those listeners who may not know who you are, can you give us a little bit of a spiel for what is it that you guys do at Melinda Brody?
Absolutely. Well, it's so funny that you asked that, Anya, because actually this is our 40th year of Melinda Brody being in company. Melinda Brody is, I know, right? One of the premier video shopping, coaching, and training companies for our industry, new home sales consultants. We primarily do video shopping, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, but we have a theory called Shop, Coach, Train, where we do the video shops with the sales consultants. Then we do one on one coaching with them to go through the video shop and talk about the good, the bad, the maybe not so good. And then we are able to take all of the results from that and put together a customized program, training program for the team.
That's amazing. So today we are going to talk about specifically the video mystery shopping that you guys do. And you've been publishing the study for the last few years. And you guys, I will link previous podcasts that we've done from years prior if you're curious about some of the information. But for those listeners who may not be familiar with video mystery shopping, can you walk us through what it actually looks like? Like what happens the moment your shopper walks in the door?
Absolutely, I can do that. And I think that the study you're referring to is our annual benchmark study, which is
Mhm.
really kind of a highlight every year because what we do, Anya, is we take all of the results from the previous year, all of them. So it typically includes over 40 different builders, over 1,500 different salespeople, and we take all of their results to come up with a national score. Then we share this score with our clients so they can see not only what their scores were, but how they rank in the national arena as well. And to your question about what video mystery shopping is, I think one of the things that I like to say about it is that it's a premier tool in your sales toolbox. It allows you as a sales manager to kind of get a glimpse of what's really going on in your sales offices, right? So, what we do is we have a team of shoppers that come into the sales office or individually, and they will run through a sales presentation with the salesperson. Somewhere on their bodies is a camera that you cannot see. So they are actually videotaping that whole interaction. Once that's done, that video is taken to our in house people who actually score it. So then you get a score. That video and the score are then sent to the sales manager and then used for training purposes. But it really is a premier tool in your toolkit because you don't know as a sales manager what's always going on in your sales offices. The other thing that's interesting about it that we kind of pride ourselves on is that before we even send a shopper into the sales offices, we have a one-on-one call with the sales manager. So say, Anya, you as a salesperson have a problem with overcoming objections or really asking for the close. We have a one-on-one. So our shoppers come in fully understanding what challenges may be presented in that sales office with that salesperson. So it's kind of a unique way to get a gauge or a baseline, I like to say, as to what's really happening and how your salespeople are performing.
That's amazing. And I mean, professional athletes do it all the time. They watch themselves on video constantly. So there you go. This is a next level for professional salespeople. Now, Leah, you watched thousands of these videos by now. So
Yeah.
what does a genuinely great first impression looks like, and how rare is it to actually get it these days?
Well, I think it's getting better, but initially, one of the things that I see often is there's an anxiety or a nervousness when that prospect walks into the sales office. You don't know them, they don't know you, and salespeople tend to want to go to the comfort level, which is starting to talk about features, starting to talk about homes, starting to talk about the community, and they miss the opportunity to really develop rapport with the people that come in. So what I like to say is take the first 5 or 10 minutes, develop rapport, ask questions, don't jump right into sales mode because not only does that comfort the prospect, but it's going to give you some very valuable information that you can use throughout the sales presentation. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Ford concept, probably have. It's a ninja selling concept, and it's called Ford. And Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So if you take a few minutes and kind of go through that Ford process with your prospects, you're going to develop rapport. Everybody's going to calm down a little bit, and then you're going to get some valuable information to be able to customize your presentation.
Mhm. Yeah, it makes such a big difference when you first interact with somebody. And I mean, let's be honest, if we're going to separate ourselves from AI and we say we're so much better than AI, what makes us better than AI is our humanity. So let's embrace that, people. When somebody walks through the
Right.
door, the very least
Yes.
you need to do is get out of your seat, right? Greet them warmly. Stop
The
eating your
human
lunch.
interaction, just your basic human interaction, that goes so far. But I think we get so worried as salespeople, I've got to do this, that we skip that part. And that's where, when I see a really good video shop, it's typically when it's warm, it's engaging, it's interactive, it's taking a little bit of time to develop that rapport and trust before you jump into, hey, come take a look at the model.
Mhm. Now, speaking of the benchmark study, one of the things that we've seen, and it's been throughout the years, is one area specifically that's underperforming, and that's the builder story. So only
Mhm.
49% of mystery video shoppers gave the builder story in 2025. So why do you think that keeps happening, and what's at stake when it gets skipped?
And that is one that puzzles me as well, because your builder is your brand and you're basically a brand ambassador. One of the things that I see, though, oftentimes on the video shops is it's a little awkward to introduce the builder story. So a lot of times people will say, like, how'd you hear about us? What do you know about us? And then they skim over it. So I think it's really most important on how you introduce the builder story. And what I always suggest is by asking, hey, Anya, have you ever built a new home before? So that's going to give me some very important information. It's going to get you to start engaging with me, and then I'm going to hear some triggers or hot buttons for you. And then I can take that information and say, well, Anya, if you don't mind, I'd like to spend a few minutes just sharing with you what makes Melinda Brody and Company builders a really good builder in this market. So I found that they just don't really know how to introduce it or get that to be a conversation. The other thing I found is a lot of times that the salesperson will start saying, well, they do this and they have a warranty and they have this. So they kind of separate themselves from the builder as opposed to really being a builder ambassador. So to answer your question, I think it's just how it's introduced. And if you can introduce it through a way of questioning where you're gleaning some valuable information, that allows you to jump into hearing what their hot buttons are, and again, customizing your builder story to meet their specific needs.
Yes, and very important point, just like you said, we love when somebody mentions our name in a conversation, especially in a sales type of situation. I know I always get disarmed when the salesperson addresses me by my name because I actually remembered my name. It's
Right.
amazing. And so the same thing with your builder, make sure you are dropping in the name of your builder throughout the conversation as you're describing the builder story, as you're talking
Yeah.
about energy efficiency, and so on, right? I know you've had one of those video shops where you captured a sales associate describing the warranty, the quality, and the efficiency for several minutes. They kept going on and never once actually said the builder's name.
Right. They just kept saying, well, they do this and we'll do this and they do this, but not really talking about, hey, this is what our builder does by using their name. And speaking of names, you go back to that initial building rapport and everything else. One of the things that always drives me crazy is that our salespeople don't use their prospect's name.
Hmm.
And that's one of the key scoring performers in the meet and greet introduction is use of your prospect's name. That is really one of the easiest ways, Anya, to start developing trust and building rapport is by using your prospect's name. Because once you start using your name, they're going to start using your name. And now we have a relationship, right?
Absolutely. It's just that remembering the prospect's name is so hard.
It is, I
Let me
know,
just
right?
win.
Just write it down on your say, hey, Anya, would you mind if I took a few notes during our presentation or our time together and write their name really big? And if they have a, well, you and I don't have plain Jane names. So if they have a hard time pronouncing, or hey, Anya, that's a beautiful name. Tell me a little bit about where that name came from. Or Leah, wow, I've not heard that name before. Share that with me. And again, that starts to build rapport and makes it a memory point, and you will use their name.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about demonstration. So obviously we've done with meet and greet. Now we're going to go and show the model. Now, good news is that the demo score for the model home jumped from 84 to 95%, which is a big improvement. So
Yes.
what are the best associates doing in the sales model that maybe some others won't do?
Well, one thing I have found is that when the old days, you would initially bring your prospect in, immediately go to the sales office, not the model yet, but the sales office to do your discovery and your qualifying. And you can almost look at these video shops and see the prospect just going, I want to see the model. I want to get into the model. So one thing that I'm finding that our top producers do is they bypass the sales office immediately. They'll go into the kitchen. They go into the model at least, right? So now you're in with all the shiny, beautiful lights and everything else. They'll have a cup of coffee. So now your people can see the model. Some people want to walk it by themselves, and I get that. So the salesperson will say, well, why don't you go ahead and start walking through? I'm going to get my information together for you, and I'll meet up with you in the bedroom or whatever it is. So it's not such a forced, I'm with you. We're walking it together every step of the way. You're allowing them to get into the open area initially so they can kind of look around so they're calm. You're giving them time to start walking it by themselves. You're putting together the package. Then you join them and continue with them throughout. I think that was always a really awkward thing because it was like you go to the sales office, you do this, then you walk them through the model. And that was a little uncomfortable. So I think that salespeople are learning how to adjust to what their clients' needs are and allowing them that time to do that and then catching up and continuing walking through the model with them.
Absolutely. I do remember from my selling days that we would always greet the prospect in the sales office, which was the garage typically.
Yes.
And then when we
Yes.
start the demo, I would ask them to walk outside and meet me at the front door. So I'd open the front door for them and they would start the tour from the front door. But yeah, the kitchen makes sense. I mean, the kitchen is the heart of the home. This is where we normally naturally gravitate to in any home. So it
Yeah.
just makes sense that kitchen is such a better place to build that natural rapport with your prospects versus the sales office, because sales office environment alone can just raise somebody's level of anxiety. And we know that specifically about women, that they have high anxiety going into a new home sales office, similar to what they experience when visiting a car dealership,
Car
which is
dealership.
not the
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. And then that also for the salesperson, it takes a little bit of pressure off of them. And this is when, again, in that meet greet, use their name, offer them a refreshment. Hey, would you like a cold water? Would you like a cup of coffee? At least now they can look around, and most of our floor plans are very, very open. Their system just calms down when you get them in the model. And to your point, in the old days with the old garage, come in, sit down, they don't want to do that. So we have to respond to what our buyers want. They want to get in that model and they want to see, and that allows them to do that.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit about closing. Closing is always something that's difficult for a lot of salespeople to ask for, the closing
Yes.
question, which is the only way to sell a house. So right now, closing for 2025 sits at 52%. So 52% of the time, sales associate asked for the sale during the sales presentation. So how do you feel about that number, Leah? And do you think that the expectation for that ask is greater or less than compared to several years ago, where now we do have so much more technology and prospects tend to be more educated when they walk through the door? So even though it is their first time coming in physically, but really it's not their first time. So is
Yeah.
52% acceptable?
Well, you hit on a good point because with all the technology now and with AI and with everybody having an online sales counselor, when your buyers come in, they are much more educated. In my
Yeah.
opinion, they're more like a B back. So they are definitely qualified because they've done the research. And if there was something they didn't like, they wouldn't come into your sales office to begin with. I think the biggest challenge with closing has always been that we look at it as an action that takes place at the end of the sales presentation, where we really need to look at it as closing starts the minute they walk in the door. So, again, that first 20, 30 minutes of asking questions. Should we find the perfect home for you today? What is your timetable? You introduce the close. Too many times, salespeople get in their own way. I will talk to them and they'll go, well, they didn't really seem like real buyers. They're making up excuses as to why they didn't ask for the close. But I think it's because it's pretty scary if you've never mentioned the close and now you're at the last 5 minutes and you're like, okay, like you want to buy. But if you look at a close as the whole progression from the moment they walk in, you're just building up to a natural, hey, looks like Anya, when we started talking this morning, you said these things were important to you. This was important to you in a builder. And that's my favorite question. What's important to you in a home site, a builder, a community? When you find that information out, then your entire presentation really is closing. So when you get to the end, it's a natural progression. So I think salespeople are getting better about that, but that's what holds them back because that's a pretty scary question. Hey, do you want to move forward and buy this $600,000 home? You've got to do it up front and then lead throughout. You're closing the entire time you're with your prospect.
Love that. Yes, do the mini closes, right? Everywhere you go in the model home, does this work for you? Close
Yes.
every room, right? On the
Right.
home site, close them on the home site so that at the end, it's check, 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 check. We checked
Correct.
all the marks, and yeah, it feels much more natural, and you feel then the right to actually ask for the final
Exactly.
close versus, yeah, you're suddenly dropping this on them where you have no idea, you've never checked in how they're feeling
Right.
throughout the process.
Right. You brought up a good point, earning the right to ask for the close. And if you do all of that stuff up front and what's important to you in all of these things, and now you know exactly what you should be customizing your presentation about, then you have earned the right. And then if you don't ask for the close, you're actually doing a disservice to your prospects
Right.
because this is what they wanted. You found a match and you did not ask to move forward. And most people that are in a sales office, we're relying on you, the sales expert, the new home advisor, to guide us through this process. So, taking charge of that and asking the right questions up front, and then taking that information and personalizing your presentation, you've earned the right to ask to move forward.
Absolutely. And guys, what I want you to remember, something that Leah said earlier, is that they probably wouldn't be in your sales office to begin with unless they already knew that this could be a match for them because of all the technology, everything else that's available, and they've all the research that they've done ahead of time. So that should give you a comforting feeling that it's not
Yes.
a cold prospect walking through and you're really asking them for the very first time. So
Right. They
keep that
use they use technology to disqualify. So
in
they're
mind.
looking at, yeah, no, 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 no. So if you made it through those initial hurdles and they actually took the time to come to your sales office, they are definitely interested. They are a hot lead. They're not just somebody who stumbled upon you Sunday afternoon on the way from home from church, right? They have done their research.
Absolutely, because who does that anymore, right? I mean, it's very
Right,
rare these
exactly.
days for people
People
to
are smarter. They're utilizing this technology and they're narrowing it down. And absolutely, if they walk into your sales office and have done the research, and that's something else that I think our salespeople can use. Obviously, you've done some research. Tell me what it is specifically that brought you out here today. And that also will help you go into your builder story. So there are just certain questions you can ask that will naturally lead you to the close, to the builder story, etc.
love that. Now, I wonder if technology has anything to do with the fact that follow-up has jumped from 51% to 67%. I cannot even believe that. I mean, follow-up is always something that we've been struggling with as salespeople. Follow-up something that I've talked about for the longest time and how you can automate some of that follow-up because otherwise it just doesn't get done. So Leah, what do you attribute to that jump? And do you think that's sustainable?
I totally agree with you. I think technology, our CRM programs, all of that has made it so much easier. And I want to just clarify here too, because on the Melinda Brody, on our shopping score, it will say, did you follow up within 24 hours? That's what our parameters are. And I always say to people, there's no excuse not to follow up, right? None whatsoever. But I'll take it a step further and go, but be careful what your follow up is. It's got to be memorable. It's got to be personalized. It can't just be, hey, Anya, thanks for coming out today. Call me if you have any questions. Hope to see you soon. If you're going to do that, then don't do follow up. Your follow up has to be specific, it has to be memorable, it has to address the presentation or something really, really detailed or specific about that presentation.
Mhm.
So while I'm very happy to see that the follow up scores continue to go up, I still would say make sure that your follow up stands out. Make sure it's not your basic, thanks for coming, call me if you have questions. Would
Mhm.
you agree? Like,
Absolutely. If you can make it personalized, everybody has that camera on them 24/7 in your phone. Just shoot a quick video of
yes.
yourself saying, "Hey, it was so nice to meet you," and hit send. It's as easy as that. If you don't want to be on camera, sure. But yes, I think follow up is a must. It's just a courtesy to your prospect to thank them for coming out to spend the time with you. It's just like a basic same thing with job interview. You're not going to go to a job interview and not send a thank you note. So why
Correct.
wouldn't you send that to your prospect who is potentially going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy your home? Just common
And you know
courtesy.
what I encourage salespeople to do is, let's say your prospect asks a specific question about the schools or activities nearby or something like that. Even if you have the answer, say something like, you know what, that's a great question, Anya. Let me do a little research and I'll get back with you. So now when you're sending your follow up, it's not just thanks for coming out. It's, you had specifically asked about the schools and here's the research that I did. Make it so that it's valuable to them. Technology is great, but how many emails do you just go ding, 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 delete, delete, delete? Make it stand out, make it real specific to what happened during the sales presentation. Hold that card back, and have some valuable follow up that's relevant to your prospects.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. Always, always make it relevant, make it personalized. Don't just send something super generic. But you know what? If you're out of time and within that first 24 hours, you need to send something just to say thank you, I'm fine with that. But going forward, you definitely want to make sure you're personalizing all of your
And I
follow-up.
love the video idea. Just a real quick, hey, you were out here today. Look at this home site 47. This could be your place. The
Mhm.
sun is setting. Can't you see yourself out here in the evening or something like that that really kind of pulls that emotion into it as well?
Absolutely, 100%. So, Leah, I love reading your newsletters because you always list the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
So, can you tell us from some of the recent interactions that you've had, what are some of the cringiest moments that you've experienced with the salesperson?
Well, there have been a lot of them. And one of the things that Ben Marks, the owner of Melinda Brody Company, and I like to say is that we can't make this up. People will go, Leah, come on. Did that really happen? I'm like, it did. You can't make it up. So we've had some crazy things. There's no doubt. People smoking cigarettes when they're walking the home site, people painting fingernails, people eating food, just all kinds of crazy things. But if I had to say what I think is really one of the things that salespeople need to take away is that you're not just a tour guide. So a lot of times it's just like, let me show you this, let me show you this, look at this, which is fine for a tour guide, but we're salespeople. So it's really more about how do we combine all of the home tour, the home site tour, everything else, but still lead to the sale. And the basic way to do that is to understand what our prospects want and what they're looking for. And again, customizing our presentation to meet those needs. But we have seen some crazy things and we can't make it up. And oh my goodness, it makes you wonder sometimes, but it is what it is. And I will say though that the craziness is not as bad as it was. I think a lot of our salespeople are really they're taking training seriously. They want to improve their craft. When we go into new companies and we say, okay, video shopping, what I found in the old days, it was like, no, we don't want to be video shop. What I found now is our top producers, people who are very serious about their career and wanting to improve their sales presentation, they say, bring it on. I want to know. I want to see that. I want to improve. So that's been a big shift in the past, I'd say 10 years. Now it's people are really looking at it and taking it seriously and going, this is a valuable tool for me to become the best version of a salesperson that I can be.
Absolutely. You're making serious money doing this profession, so you should be taking this very, very seriously. I would cherish an opportunity. I can see how it is definitely nerve-wracking, but it is a great experience at the end of it all. I mean, who else is going to give you this, right? That's just invaluable.
And even with the technology too, Anya, because I know that's a big part of our industry and it is streamlining so many things and making so many of those tasks easier for us. But in new home sales, it's always about relationships. It's always, in my opinion, going to be a relationship selling point. Those basic get to know the person, develop trust, develop rapport, all that AI can't do, you
Mhm.
can do as a salesperson. So it's worth it to take the time to invest in yourself, invest in becoming a better salesperson. And video mystery shopping helps you do that because where else do you get an opportunity to see yourself live and oh gosh, I didn't realize I did this, or maybe why don't I overcome this objection? So it's just really a good tool, and that's really one of the things that has been a passion of mine is like it's not a gotcha. We're not trying to say, oh, you're bad. We're trying to go, look at what you did, look at what you did well, and look how you can improve. What can we do to improve? And really using it as a tool to better yourself in the sales role.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're saying that the top performers at least are embracing this. So when you share the results, I can imagine it can be interesting conversations, but it seems like it is getting to that point where people are saying, "Hey, I do want to be video shopped. I want to see the
Absolutely.
results."
I want to improve. I want to be the best version of myself that I can be and a better salesperson. So we have seen a shift in that. It's not the, oh gosh, the dreaded video shop is coming. It's more, hey, that's awesome. I want to learn. I want to improve my sales skills.
Absolutely. Now, Leah, I'm curious if size matters. You work with builders of all sizes nationwide. So, is there any meaningful difference between, say, how nationals handle these shops versus like a smaller regional and boutique builders?
That's a great question. What I would say is not necessarily, but what I have found is I can tell whether it's a national or a boutique or small or whatever, I can tell who supports training. Because
Mhm.
kind of circling back to what we said, video shopping is a training tool. It leads into our shop coach train. So I can tell which sales managers or which companies really make an investment in their team through training and coaching, etc. So I've seen some of the best trainers and coaches in smaller companies and maybe some not so good in larger companies and vice versa. But you can definitely tell those managers that take it seriously and really want to improve their overall team. And that's one of the things that we tell our clients all the time is this is an investment. This is an investment in your team. They're going to be better salespeople. They're going to make more sales, which is good for the company, regardless of the size. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's based on national versus boutique, but it's the training philosophy that the company has.
Absolutely. That's good to know. You can still compete against the big guys
Absolutely.
if you
Absolutely.
prioritize your training. That's great to hear. Now, Leah, if sales managers listening to this right now and they want to start doing mystery shopping with their own team, what's the first thing that they should do internally before they bring someone like you in?
We were just talking to a client last week that has never done video shopping before, and we actually had this exact conversation. And I think, part of it is explaining to the team that this is a sales tool. You
Mhm.
don't have to tell them when it's coming, but I do think it's important to introduce that, hey, we're going to be doing some additional training. And because we do shop coach train, it's not just we're coming in and shopping you. So just understanding and having that mentality as a sales manager that this is a tool for me in my sales toolkit to get a baseline as to where my salespeople are. For the sales manager, also, what I think is very important is it allows you to see trends. So if you've got a sales team of 10 people and we've got a very detailed dashboard that they can go in and see, and I look at that data. So when I talk to the sales manager after the shop, I'm able to say, hey, your sales team is doing a fabulous job on builder story. What I'm seeing as a trend is that they might need a little help with closing or overcoming objections. So it's not just the one off. How did this person do? How did that person do? But I always use the SWOT philosophy: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So to get a group view of what's going on with the entire team. And that helps you as a sales manager to know what your training goals might be moving forward, where your sales team is really, excelling, and where they might need some additional help. But I think the biggest thing overall is to look at video mystery shopping as a tool to help enhance performance versus a gotcha. We're calling out the video shop police to come in and take a look at you. It's a lot of it is just how you get that message out to your team on why you're doing video shopping and why it's important to the overall growth and performance of the team.
Yep, absolutely. So, Leah, it sounds like you do encourage sales managers to disclose to their team that they are going to be video shop. Because I wonder if that changes results. Because if I know it's coming, then I may be a little bit on a maybe better behavior than I normally would be. So it's interesting, like how, because not that we want to, again, use it as a gotcha, but it would be interesting to see if they were not expecting it, how would they actually react in a natural situation versus like, oh, I know I'm due for a video shop. Do you
Well,
find that that makes a difference?
in most states, Anya, in order for us to come in and actually do a video shop of a person, they have to sign a release form.
Mm,
Right? It's not in most states, you're not just allowed to come in and video shop people. So what I encourage salespeople to do let's say it's the beginning of the year, and the sales team has to sign this disclosure. The salespeople have to say, "I give my approval for that." So
mhm,
at the beginning of the year, if it's new, you don't say, "Hey, they're coming on Tuesday." Be on your best behavior, but they have to sign the release form, and that's a way for you to introduce, "Hey, this year we're making an investment in you and for you all to improve and get better and see what's going well. We're working with a video mystery shopping firm. So sometime this year, you may be video shop, you may not. As Melinda Brody used to say, she's like, do it early because pretend like everybody that walks into your sales office is a video mystery shopper.
mhm.
And what is that? If we don't shop you till November, but it's been on your mind since January, like you said, I may do something differently, but what you're going to do is you're going to go, hey, I didn't use that person's name. I'm going to start doing that more. You're going to just start to incorporate a lot of the things on the score sheet into your presentation. Well, I had a
Right.
girl once years ago who had scored like a 30 on her video shop, and she was just traumatized. And she said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pretend everybody that walks in for the next 45 days is a video shopper. Well, come to find out, the next time we shopped her, she scored a 99. And
Wow.
I'm like, girl, you did great. She said, I just pretended everybody was a video shopper. Well, what that means is I gave everybody a really strong sales presentation. So
Yeah.
if that's the worst thing that comes out of saying, hey, we're going to shop you this year, I can think of worse things, right?
Absolutely. I bet that girl's results went through the roof as well during that 45-day
Yes,
period. Absolutely.
absolutely. And her confidence level too, because a
Yeah.
lot of it, Anya, is when you go through these things, you own it. You own the sales presentation. You're in charge. You're leading it. So you see confidence go up. You see performance levels go up. You see presentation skills just get really, really much better.
Absolutely. Now, wait, if somebody wants to get a copy of this benchmark report, we will link that in the show notes to make it the easiest possible way for them.
Yes.
And if somebody wants to work with you, tell us where they can find more information about you. And then if you hang out on social media somewhere, if people want to engage with you personally, what's the best way?
Wonderful. Well, first of all, Melinda Brody Company does have a Facebook page as well as a LinkedIn page. And Ben Marks at melindabrody.com, and he is our owner. And I'm Leah.Turner at melindabrody.com, sales coach and trainer. So if you're interested, just shoot an email, go to our Facebook or LinkedIn and let us know, and we will follow up. As I like to say, one of the things that we do is it's very important that we have that conversation with the sales manager because not all sales teams are alike. So we like to get to know you and get to know your sales team and how we can work best with you. Our shop coach train philosophy is really one of a kind in the industry. So we don't just shop you and go, here are the results, have fun. We are here with you to go, okay, we can help with the coaching or the training, whatever it is that you need to build your sales team. And we love working with sales managers and consider ourselves partners with our builders and trying to help you meet your sales goals.
Absolutely. So you guys, I will link all that information in the show notes so you can easily connect with Leah and Melinda Brody and Company to get your shopping started, your secret shopping, right? I mean,
Let's go
mystery shopping
shopping.
is
That's
so
right.
fun. Leah, thank you so much for being on the show again. As I mentioned, you are a repeating guest. I appreciate you coming back. I will link those previous episodes for you guys so you can check out years prior what we talked about. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Well,
And I will talk to you very soon. Bye.
thank you, Anya. I appreciate it.